but most of the time, really big jumps, which is going to be extremely difficult.
Looks like we'll be starting with New Zealand's pick though, Neko Master song Avalon no Oka.
Oh, I think that's the ranked version, isn't it?
Yes, it is. 6.5 stars or so, so it should be an interesting warm-up, I reckon.
Yeah, as I recall correctly, it's 240 BPM, and there's also pretty much single tap jumps with some quite harsh patterns. I mean, you really don't see a map on this kind of level in the group stage map pool, well, at least yet. We're gonna see crazy maps, or crazier maps later on. But currently, this is just to show off the player's skill. You know, just thinking about it, there are a bunch of different ways to pick a warm-up. Some people opt to go for a more trolly kind of warm-up, which is just gonna be, for example, an anthem song. I mean, we did see the Polish and the Finnish team do that quite often. And on the other side, you do have the people trying to go for real warm-ups, which is gonna be around the same level of the map pool. You can actually get a bunch of information out of the enemy team by picking similar maps from the map pool, but not the exact same one for obvious reasons. Because you can't pick the group stage map pool or the map pool maps in the warm-up. Well, for example, you might be able to pick an alternate heavy map, which is testing a specific skill set, and then see how the enemy performs, and then use that to your advantage and perhaps guide your picks towards that. What do you think, Box? How did you pick your warm-ups yet until now in the tournaments?
Over previous years, it's really depended who we've had. But usually it's, just to warm up any skills that we might need during the tournament. And it looks like we're off to a start now.
A 240 BPM jumpy map. Incredible song by Neko Master.
And just a reminder, this is using Score V2, which means sliders do have an accuracy window, which is quite a challenge to a lot of players. It's quite a bit different to normal play.
Indeed, and it's a little bit interesting. Some people do have insane troubles with Score V2 because the sliders don't give immediate feedback, which needs a little bit taking used to. So you can definitely see some people who are more used to it and practice it than others.
And straight away we see Short Potato way ahead with 100% accuracy still, while some other players are trailing a bit behind compared to that.
And on harder maps, you definitely can see the difference of the team strengths a lot more than on easier maps. Because that's where better players truly shine.
But in the tournament maps, of course, it still comes down to consistency rather than raw skill, which always makes interesting matches.
Indeed. And also just knowing your strengths and the enemy strengths to at least pick the right amount of maps or the right maps at all.
So it actually looks like a fairly even match right now, jumping a bit between the two teams. So at this point, it's anyone's game, I'd say.
Yeah, but interesting enough, this kind of skill set is not really required in the map pool currently, as far as I know. 240 BPM jumps.
Yeah, I believe it's much quicker than the map pool.
In the group stage map pool, it's more of a focus on technical maps rather than these speedier maps, because when you try to pick these kind of speedy maps, you tend to end up with a really high star rating, which might not be, or just a really difficult map in terms of raw difficulty, which might not be fitting for a group stage map pool.
So with the first warm-up though, looks like Singapore won, although Short Potato, really wonderful accuracy right there. A lot of misses, but very good accuracy.
Indeed.
But very close.
Singapore winning definitely shows that they do have an interesting choice on those easier group stage matches. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of upset potential in the entire groups of the OS World Cup currently. I mean, we have so many insane low-seeded or high-seeded teams, which definitely can beat up top-seeded teams on these kind of maps.
Absolutely. And looks like we're getting into the second warm-up, Flowers. An Isles map, as Fours said earlier, should be a fairly difficult map.
Indeed, while the focus is mostly on jumps, especially on this one, which is around 170 BPM. Excuse me if I'm wrong, because it's pretty hard to know these wall picks in advance, which is almost impossible. But this one is the RLS difficulties are automatically mean that the approach rate is 10, which pretty much means that's the fastest way you can really see circles without adding DT to the mix double time, making the song faster. This RLS map, the Lapnia map, is going to feature a lot of jumps. And this one in particular is gonna actually feature really harsh angles, really sharp ones.
Although I haven't played this map, I've noticed a lot of Isles maps also tend to have fairly spaced streams. I'm not sure about this one.
Indeed.
Though.
This one doesn't really have them. It's more of a focus on jumps. That's why the star rating is only around 6 stars.
Oh, right.
But this one pretty much is pretty easy, around a 5.5 star level, and then there's 2 high points, which is almost around the KI time when it starts, which is the highest or the hardest jumps possible. It's just one like 10 note sequence of really hard jumps, which increases spacing. That's where the 6 stars come from. That's probably gonna be the place where most of these players are gonna miss on.
It'll be interesting to see who hits it though.
Indeed. This might be a little bit more in the line of the group stage map pool because it's slower, so it's around the speed of the map pool, but the jumps are still quite extreme.
Yeah, it'll be a much harder map, I'd imagine.
Indeed, but that's just gonna show that these players definitely don't want to choke around in the warm-ups and want to show off what they're made of.
Yeah, of course. And looks like we're starting the second warm-up of the day.
Accuracies are not gonna be too much of an issue because the accuracy or the OD level is 7, which means the overall difficulty can range from, as far as I know, I think 0 to 10. 10 being the highest, 10 being really hard, while 7 is pretty decent for these kind of maps on that level, perhaps a little bit too low.
Yeah, 7's usually a fairly comfortable overall difficulty for players of this skill.
Indeed, 7 was pretty much the go-to difficulty in the earlier years, like 2012, 2013. But it slowly changed and got higher and higher. So players nowadays are used to a lot tighter hit windows to get 300s and 100s in. That's why you most likely are gonna see 99% accuracy or with a few misses or just an SS.
Looks like it's off to a fairly decent lead by New Zealand due to a couple of early misses on Singapore's side.
And there we see the first jump sequence.
Yeah, spikes up the difficulty a fair bit. Although Short Potato, Smeed and GS Blank all holding combo.
Great job by them, but there's gonna be another jump sequence coming up soon, which is gonna probably make or break all these combos once again and test their abilities to jump. But I'm just taking this warm-up too seriously. It's just a warm-up to, you know, kind of get ease into the tournament setting and get used to it. Perhaps show off a little bit. When it really matters, it's gonna be later on.
I suppose the warm-up's good for helping ease nerves as well, because that tends to be a fairly big problem with a lot of players during the tournament.
Indeed. What do you think out of your own experience? How do you feel in tournament settings, boss?
Well, personally, I don't find them too stressful, although I've played with a lot of people who tend to get quite nervous in matches and make a lot of mistakes they usually wouldn't outside tournament situations. What about yourself?
Because I'm pretty much been playing tournaments for as far as I can remember now, so I pretty much got used to it. But the OWC still sometimes gets me if something really unforeseen happens, and so it gets exciting.
Yeah, especially really close matches.
Indeed. But currently we do see Cheese playing Shot Potato and Smeds nail the second jump part.
And that's
so
three
did
people
Jonah
still with full combo.
Yeah. Giving the lead to New Zealand currently.
Quite a large margin as well, 400,000 points or so. Short Potato and Blank both holding exceptional accuracy though. Although as you did say earlier, it's fairly low OD.
Indeed.
Overall difficulty, that is.
Shot Potato, for example, is actually one of the Australia and New Zealand tournament players who got into the semi-finals, as far as I know, in the last Australia and New Zealand tournament. So it shows that he's pretty decent in tournaments, and hopefully he's going to perform pretty well in the group stages of the US World Cup.
Though it looks like both Smeed and Short Potato dropped combo, and only GS Blank's holding. And he held them through all those jumps. Looks like he full comboed. Quite an impressive play.
Unfortunately, it wasn't enough to get the lead for his team, but nonetheless, that's a great performance by him.
Very close finish. So with that, both of the warm-up matches are done.
Yeah,
So we'll soon be...
Yeah, hopefully the matches aren't gonna tend GS Blank to be the only FC in the group stage maps, because it's a 4 vs 4 and every single player counts, and you can't really 1v4 carry, especially if you have some powerhouses in the enemy team. Especially
with Score V2. Used to be a bit different, but now it definitely depends a lot more on your team, which is good. It looks like New Zealand won the rolls, so they will be first to pick, and I believe second to ban.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, the winner of the roll starts picking the first beat map, and the loser is gonna start banning. Just looked it up just in case, you know, we don't want to make any mistakes in the first match. We don't want to set the tone in a negative way.
So what do you reckon? What do you think will be a fairly frequent ban throughout the weekend?
Just looking at it, I'm gonna expect the hidden map Blumenkranz is going to be banned. The approach rate 8 map, a hidden map, and OD9 map on 160 BPM. That's just a really deadly combo.
Already banned.
Already banned. Blumenkranz got banned. Oh Lord.
I don't think many teams are going to be playing that, if any, to be honest.
Indeed. And the second ban I'm gonna expect is gonna be Yuro Fuwa Yukai Girl by Lawn, which is gonna be a nomad pick. It's a higher BPMs map, 216 BPM, but the important part on this map is the single tap patterns, where you have a bunch of lines and really harsh angles and sharp angles, which is going to be hard for most of these players to see, especially because the mapping is around 2011, 2012. So that also is another factor for newer players to not want to play it.
So it looks like Korea won both of their warm-ups in their match.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
But to be fair, I mean, lots of people talked about winning their own warm-up, and that it kind of matters. I personally say that if you have such a team like Korea, for example, Powerhouse, you're probably gonna win any warm-up which is gonna get thrown your way, unless you face a team which is on the same level of it. Korea, I believe, is going to be top 4 material in the tournament, so something like that isn't gonna surprise.
So it looks like New Zealand's banned Hajimete Girls, which is a bit of a strange map. It's very slider heavy and quite awkward to play.
Indeed, and I did think it was 256 BPM alternating, which means 1/4, which means halving it to 128 BPM. So it's 120 BPM streams, but it actually wasn't. Surprisingly, the entire map is 190 BPM, and just really weirdly mapped. That's what I was able to deduce from the editor.
Not too much of a surprise it got banned, honestly. I reckon that'll be another fairly frequent ban. And New Zealand with the first pick with the 1OK rock map.
Oh, so this one was a little bit questioned by some people of being in the map pool, because just looking at the raw star difficulty, it's pretty much the highest in the entire map pool. But the important part here is that this represents the 2016 or 2015 mapping pretty much, and where the focus is more on raw difficulty and jumps, and being able to easily know how to play it. You're just gonna have to play it properly, where the only difficulty is gonna be the difficulty itself by having the spacing of the nodes. And that's why the star rating is a lot higher than the other ones, because the other maps do have a lot of technical parts in them, which make them hard in their own unique way.
So it looks like we should be getting ready to start the first match.
Indeed. And Box, what do you reckon? Is this map, despite its high star rating, the most difficult map in the group stage map pool?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, it follows fairly basic patterns, although I believe it's going to come down to whoever can, for the most part, hold the highest accuracy over all the teams. So I reckon it should be a really close match.
Indeed. I mean, this map is actually pretty much closest to the last map we saw in the warm-up, the Arles difficulty. Pretty close. It's a little bit higher BPM, but nonetheless it'll be just as fine. 5.96 stars, 3 minutes, 195 BPM, which means 195 BPM is pretty decent as a speed. Not too slow, but not too fast either, what high-level OS players are used to.
Yeah, and an overall difficulty of 9, which is a much smaller timing window than the previous warm-up maps.
Pretty tight.
So it'll be a pretty tough battle, I'd imagine.
Yeah, I'm gonna expect New Zealand to win this one. First, it's their pick. They probably know what they are good at and what they practice.
Yeah.
And
looks like they're going in.
Looking at the second warm-up pick, they did have the advantage there. Alright, and we're gonna kick off the OS World Cup with the first group stage match, which is at least gonna be streamed.
Looks like there was an early break already by GS Blank. But very early into the map, so it's definitely still recoverable. Nothing too detrimental.
Indeed, and there's a bunch of accuracy drops across the board by Singapore, which is understandable because sometimes it's hard to get into a map at the beginning.
Absolutely. Although New Zealand, for the most part, holding quite good accuracy. Oh, it looks like Rain also dropped combo.
You definitely can see the consistency inside of the New Zealand team as a whole, but it's not over yet because it's 3 minutes long.
Yeah, there's still plenty of time, although GS Blank dropped again, which could quite hurt his team.
Yeah, that might just be the nerfs coming in.
Hopefully they calm down throughout the map. So New Zealand, quite an early lead, about 250,000, which is quite a good start. And as we reach about the halfway mark, we still got Yellowy 246 holding. Never mind, he's just dropped to still high 99, so he's only got 100, so that's quite a good start.
Indeed, you can pretty much see New Zealand is a lot more comfortable on this kind of pick because of the accuracies. But I believe that is a break by Qumi and a lolly, or rather bunny.
Well, that could hurt the New Zealand team, although with only RTY's then holding combo for Singapore, it might be hard to come back. Quick look to the Indonesia versus South Korea match. It looks like Korea's taken the first point, which is a nice start for them.
It's slowly getting into the last fourth of the map, and the lead is so big that I believe New Zealand pretty much got this in the bag.
Yeah, it would be pretty hard for them to lose, with Short Potato and Yellowy both holding combos still.
The combination of Short Potato and Yellowy on this map proved to be way too strong. 90% accuracy. Yellowy, I think only with the 1/100.
An outstanding play by Yellowy.
Indeed, can he get the 1 million points with the spinner? And he does.
That's New Zealand with more than 500,000 points. That's a huge lead.
Indeed, it's a great effort by our Tyson, but it just wasn't enough. It might just be, sometimes the stars are aligned in a certain way where, sometimes a player misses, which is uncharacteristic for him. But then the other of all the other players unfortunately missed in the Singapore side.
Quite a shame, but a very clear win by New Zealand, so looks like we'll be going to the next map, FI by 44 Teru K.
I wouldn't call them, or wouldn't really rule them out yet, because that was just one of the many showings of a map. And there's no such a map again in the entire map pool of a 6-star champion map on 195 BPM.
Absolutely. So FI, if I recall correctly, this is a fairly streamy map. And it's a free mod. Free mod?
And free mod, yeah. As we actually do see, thanks Locked for the reminder, two out of 4 players must pick a mod. So it might be 2 players picking Hard Rock, or 2 players picking Hidden. Or both players might just pick Hidden Hard Rock if you're more comfortable with that. But the interesting thing in this map is that it is CS free, which means circle size free. And the standard circle size for most maps, the go-to one, is pretty much 4. And 3 just means that it's a lot larger, which is unusual, quite unusual. I mean, what's your take on it, Box? Do you feel more comfortable playing lower CS, lower circle sizes?
I'd say larger circles up to a certain point are generally easier, so I'd say 3 is a fairly easy size for a lot of top level players, so especially the people in this tournament, so I'd imagine it would be fairly comfortable. And we might see a fair few Hard Rock plays as a result.
Yeah, because this map on Hard Rock is gonna end up having CS 3.9.
Which is still a very comfortable size for a lot of players.
Indeed. After all, most players are used to CS4, and if you actually still have a little bit of larger circle than that, it just sets you up to perform really well.
So for those not too familiar with the tournament setting, modifications such as hidden and hard rock actually boost your score. So while players don't have to use them, if you're able to consistently hold combo with them, it'll generally help your team quite a lot.
Indeed. And I believe there are a bunch of strategies which involve all of your players actually picking a mod, which is a possibility, because if you think that all the players in the match are going to see, if they're going to play it perfectly, you might want to pick up another mod to get that score edge of the enemy team.
Though it looks like we have Short Potato with Hard Rock, Yellowy with both Hidden and Hard Rock, Nakano with both Hidden and Hard Rock 2, and GS Blank with Hard Rock.
Yeah, so it's pretty much just a mirror of both mods. Not too surprising here. Hard Rock is pretty much the go-to mod because it makes the map a lot more normal than it would be.
Especially with a lot of players being a lot more confident on higher approach rates, which Hard Rock does.
Indeed.
It pretty much means the time the circles are on the screen is a bit shorter. Makes it less cluttered.
Indeed. And it makes it less cluttered and makes it easier for people to follow because there are less objects on the screen, which is a big plus for it. But the downside is going to be that it is OD10, which means a really really tight hit window. And currently we see Short Potato with the 99.5% accuracy, which is insane.
Especially with Hard Rock.
And
although
too.
Nakano not too far behind. Well, he's dropped back a bit, but well over 98. Though it looks like as a result of a drop combo on the Singapore side, or two at this point, New Zealand have taken quite a score lead.
Yeah, unfortunately Raindrop has a drop, but next to that, really good accuracy.
Though Short Potato just lost a lot of his accuracy on a stream right there. Dropped right down to 96.
Yeah, such is the nature of hard work on a streaming map. Just 1 millisecond being off means that the entire stream is mistimed, and you just get 100s flying out the window.
Although it looks like despite that, a huge win by New Zealand, over 1 million, or just about 1 million points with all 4 players full comboing the map, which is extremely good.
Indeed.
Bit unlucky for Raindrop there though, no misses, but looks like he broke a couple of sliders, resulting him in losing combo anyway.
Yeah, actually shoutouts to GS Blank for also seeing the map with Hard Rock. Nakano and Yellowy duking it out against each other, but it pretty much was Cabbage and Kiyomi saving this for the team by FCing and almost FCing respectively.
Which always helps.
Indeed. And the most important part about these maps is not that just one player performs, it's that all of the players perform. Because every player has a 1/4 potential of their entire team score, because that's the way Score V2 works. Score V2 gives you a maximum of 1 million points, and of those 1 million points, you do have 70% combo and 30% accuracy. Hard Rock and Hidden do have some multipliers coming in to change the maximum score, but next to that, it's pretty much just that 1/4 of your team score is you, and you need to perform in the team. It's not just going to be that guy in the team who's going to perform and carry everyone.
So the next map we've got is a pick by New Zealand, Koto Noha Clinic, a kite map and a hidden pick, which means every player will have hidden enabled, which quite changes how it's played.
Indeed, you're gonna have to click the circles after they're gone, so you're gonna have to remember a few steps on the way. And this map is actually really interesting because it might be quite easy and might be quite slow, but the map is really interesting in the sense that it does feature patterns such as a really fast repeat slider and a few repeat sliders in a row, which can make you break quite easily in this kind of setting. Just doubting yourself for 1 second is enough to give you the break on that pattern. And
It
also
also
there's
looks. Oh, it looks like we've also had 2 switches out on the Singapore side. Both Rain and Raindrop have disappeared for Asterisk and Zen, who is back now.
Oh, I see. Well, at least they have more choice than some other teams in the tournament about swapping players out. Well, this is 150 BPM around it on approach rate 8.8.
So that's a fairly slow map.
Indeed, in terms of approach rate and the BPM. Adding to that some back and forth jump patterns, left and right overlaps on hidden, plus the repeat slides which are quite fast. It's gonna be a hard task. And accuracies are definitely gonna drop because this is a speed most players are not used to.
We've already seen that all over the Singapore side, with all players dropped to about 95 or less. Although New Zealand is holding it a bit better. Go on.
And then there's the one guy, Kiyumi, who definitely is a master of these slower maps.
I suppose that goes back to what we said earlier about players who practice the maps generally quite a bit better. I'd imagine he'd have played this a fair few times.
Indeed, and plus that he generally plays slower maps because he likes them. And that's also important because pretty much what you play is what you get good at. And if you play a lot of slow maps, you get good at them. If you don't, then you're not going to be really good at them.
Which is why it's always good for a team to try to have a fair few different skill sets in their team, as opposed to just all double time players or whatever else. So again, we see New Zealand all holding full combo, while 2 players from the Singapore side have dropped, which is going to take New Zealand off to an early start by about 500,000 points. Quite a decent lead.
And it shows that New Zealand once again knows their strengths and knows what they should practice and will practice. It definitely pays off.
And still New Zealand all holding combo. It'll be pretty hard for them to lose at this point. Only about a quarter of the song left, so not long left.
Indeed, and having that 1 million lead, that's just absolutely insane.
Which will take New Zealand at this... Oh, looks like Cabbage has dropped though. Although it looks like it'll be too late for any chance at Singapore catching up. Although it looks like there's a fair few players holding full combo, so could have been very close. And that's that map over. Full combos by Short Potato, Yellowy, Kiyumi, and Asterisk. Oh, and Zen as well. So 5, that's quite a good performance all round. There were a couple of unfortunate misses on the Singapore side, so a clear win by New Zealand there too.
Indeed, you definitely see the accurate aspect getting in there and making the difference. I mean, just compare the full combos from the Singapore team and the New Zealand team.
Yeah, Singapore with struggling to even get 90%, dropping down to A ranks.
Indeed, and look at the scores, which is around 780,000 and 820,000 against a 1 million point of New Zealand.
A huge difference.
Yeah, that's pretty much the accuracy component kicking in there for New Zealand. But this is gonna be in match point for New Zealand, unless Singapore has some kind of trick up their sleeve. But
yeah, it might be tough to bring it back from here.
Yeah, definitely quite tough.
Although it is Singapore's pick, so we'll see what they have. Looks like they might be strategizing a bit.
Yeah, reverse sweep the dream. But if any one of you wonders why your favorite player is not performing up to par at how they're performing in single player, that's just because some of these players might still have problems with nerfs in tournaments. They know that a lot of people are looking at them and are judging them for every mistake they make. I mean, we as commentators pretty much have to call out their mistakes. So that's definitely not a good feeling if you make a mistake, everyone immediately knows about it, and you only have this one shot at the map, just this one shot, the one opportunity,
So
and that's also adding to the nerves.
it looks like for Singapore's pick, they're actually picking a hard rock map, Utopia by Ramesses B, which is, with hard rock, it's not a very fast song, so holding accuracy on it can be quite difficult, especially for players used to higher speeds. So I think this could honestly go either way.
Indeed, let's hope it's gonna be a good pick by Singapore. Because frankly, in this situation, I'm also not really sure what they should pick. So I can't really predict any kind of map picking, as New Zealand is proving that they're incredibly well versed in this tournament map. And just looking at all the FCs, they might even be a contender for some upsets.
Yeah, might see him through to quite later rounds.
But who knows, maybe New Zealand is gonna get a little bit shaky and nervous against the higher seeded teams. That might also happen.
So it looks like we've had Cabbage out for Smeed and Kiyumi out for Ningaloo again. So that's 2 swaps on the New Zealand side.
A match point for New Zealand. And it is Singapore's pick.
So I think this will be... It's quite tough to say who will win, because back on the free mod pick, both Singapore and New Zealand were quite good at hard rock.
Indeed, Nakano, I believe, and Cheers Blank both showed their hard rock and hidden hard rock progress respectively. And so did Short Potato and Yellowy. But
Looks
it's all
like-
about the other two players.
Yeah, looks like Singapore might be making a change as well, since Zen has jumped out of the room, so we'll just wait to see who replaces him. And it looks like Raindrops is back, so he must be a more consistent hard rock player, I'd imagine.
Indeed, this might be a last-minute change. Probably some of the players saying, I don't want to play this, I can't play this, and then someone else is saying, well, I can't either, but I can probably play it a little bit better, who knows? I wouldn't really look too far into it because teams change players for the darndest things. It's really insane sometimes.
So it looks like we're just about to start, I'd imagine. Looks like the stream's having just a few issues. The game should be right back up very shortly.
Indeed. That match is gonna wait a little bit for the stream. So, and we do have a few people, or at least one guy, the streamer, trying to sort things out and making things work.
It looks like, though, across to our other match that we have, which I believe is South Korea versus Indonesia. Korea is currently up 3-0, so it might be a clean win for them as well. And looks like here we go, starting the match point match.
Let's see, hopefully Singapore performing one last time and perhaps getting a point.
And already, all round, we can see a fair few players have dropped their accuracy.
now I see it surrounding me. This is where I feel most alive.
And a fairly early lead to New Zealand. Although in saying that, all the players seem to have around 95% accuracy or so, so this could go either way at this point.
Indeed.
It's still very early in the map.
Sometimes you just gotta sacrifice accuracy for combo, because combo is still worth 70% of your score.
Of course.
So it's the majority of it.
There's been 2 breaks on the New Zealand side and only 1 on the Singapore, so that could give quite an advantage to Singapore if they can hold their combos.
Indeed, they do have the lead. And Smad did miss once again.
Looks like he's struggling to hold combo.
It's
Looks
looking good.
Yeah, with only the last quarter or so of the map left. And Singapore right ahead by about 200,000.
Asterix is living the combo dream and forgetting the accuracy, which is good for his team.
Very important. And it looks like that's a win by Singapore, bringing the score up to 3-1 New Zealand's way. Could be a comeback from Singapore, you never know.
Indeed. I mean, perhaps this is revealing one of the flaws of New Zealand. Previously showing no real weaknesses, but now finally crumbling.
Although Short Potato did hold extremely good accuracy there compared to the other players. Followed closely, I suppose, by Ningaloo.
And then followed by the Singapore side. Well, this is pretty much the entire side of Singapore performing better as a whole compared to New Zealand, rather than just
Absolutely.
individual players.
3 full combos, that's not a bad way to go. And it looks
Great
like South Korea has beaten Indonesia in their match for love. So
Ooh.
congratulations to them.
Yeah, congratulations to Korea, but in that case, it was expected. We're gonna have to see some of the closer matches.
Absolutely. Korea is quite a strong side this year.
Yeah, and the matches which are gonna be streamed are picked in the order that the closer the seeds are, the more priority it pretty much has. So, which is pretty much gonna decide or hopefully see closer matches. For example, if you see the highest seed against the lowest seed in a group, you're gonna expect more of a storm. Obviously, that's not true all the time, but it tends to be true, and that's what we're gonna go with.
So the next pick we have from New Zealand is actually a double time pick, Golden Slaughter by 07th Expansion. This is
interesting.
It is. It's a bit of a strange map. It'll be interesting to see who wins, although I believe New Zealand do have a fair few strong double time plays.
Indeed, but this map isn't really much of a double time map, rather than you can imagine this being just a 200 BPM standard map with 2 real patterns. It does at the beginning have a 1/6 burst, which is 300 BPM. Interestingly enough, it's just for 4 nodes, and people are most likely gonna drop Act there, and it's one of the reasons why there aren't so many double S's in the or perfect scores in the top 50 ranks on the map. Also, It's an old map, which is another factor. But Box, did you play this map and did the 1/6 pattern throw you off guard?
I have tried it a couple of times, and yeah, that bit at the start, I don't know, it's quite difficult to hold decent accuracy on it. So it'll be interesting to see how other players do on it.
Indeed. And next to that, we actually do have 200 BPM streams. A lot of circles in quick succession is gonna be a stream, and we're gonna have a bunch of these at the end, which are really long, so you're gonna test your stamina. Also a little bit of your speed, because it is 200 BPM, which is a bit more on the faster side, at least in this map pool.
It's quite fast, yeah, but I think a fair few of these players should be able to hold that sort of speed. So it looks like here we go, again a match point for New Zealand. And it is their pick, so you could say they have the advantage as well. Although Already an early break from both Bunny and Asterisk.
Yeah, the 1-6 pattern, they're pretty much showing them off. Yellowy completely missing the 1-6 pattern.
And absolutely no one holding SS.
And just to recap, 1-6 is going to refer to the time signature of the nodes at which they're placed in. 1/4 is the standard streaming signature, while 1/6 is a little bit faster. It's about 1/3 faster, that's why 200 BPM becomes 300 BPM pretty much.
Looks like both Raindrop and Short Potato are holding really high accuracy, keeping the match fairly close. And even the score difference is only about 20,000 points or so.
Indeed, and the streams, the longer streams, are gonna come up at the end, plus there's still a last 1/6 pattern at the end, right before the last slider.
I reckon the streams are really going to test the players accuracy-wise. That could make or break the match.
Yeah, they did throw me off guard the first time I played this map. I was like, well, that's kind of manageable without warm-up, and then it started, and I was like, nope, that it definitely needs warm-up.
Looks like we've already got a couple of streams coming in now, as we reach the later part of the map. Although Raindrop has dropped fairly recently, which really could hurt their team. It's all down to how New Zealand hold their combo, although Yallowy has dropped his combo as well, which is going to leave this match very close.
Indeed, but 200,000 points is a substantial lead in Score V2.
Absolutely. Although still, combo breaks can really hurt a team.
Oh, and pretty much all of the combos did hit the repeat slider pattern, which I believe is gonna give the point to New Zealand.
Yeah, that's by far the hardest part of the map. And with the lead New Zealand have now, it's not looking too good for Singapore. And looks like it's a fairly clean win from New Zealand, 4-1. Congratulations to New Zealand. Short Potato holding an excellent score there, 99.14% accuracy.
Yeah, congratulations to New Zealand. Great job by them. They were expected to win this because they were the higher seeded team. Singapore did put up a fight. They did get that 1 point. But we're gonna have to see what New Zealand is gonna do in the future against the higher seeded team.
I believe they have their next matches tomorrow.